What's the deal with Deontay Wilder? Is he coming back? Is he not? Is he fighting a Bridgerweight? Is he going to fight a heavyweight? Does he even deserve one last payday? What I mean by deserve one last payday, deserve one last crack of the whip, deserve one last roll of the dice, chance to prove himself. To be honest with you, that Zhilei Zhang performance told me that Deontay Wilder is done. You could look at the Joseph Parker fight and say it was maybe an anomaly. That Wilder been out of the ring for a while. He appeared to lose. Well, he didn't appear. He definitely lost that killer instinct. But with the right training, with the right mindset, you could get that back. So let's wait and see what happens in the Zhilei Zhang fight. And it was more of the same, only this time it was a lot more convincing. And the Parker fight was convincing. He got completely outboxed. He got taken out devastatingly against Zhilei Zhang. Devastatingly. At that point, you look at Deontay Wilder and you say, well, he's 38 years old. Come October, he'll be 39 years old. His athletic peak is well and truly gone. The thing that Wilder never had great boxing fundamentals. He never had. The only time I ever saw Wilder really box and look somewhat okay was against Bermane Stiverne in the first fight, an absolute plotter. That's the only time he ever really used his jab and boxed a little bit, was in that fight. And you could actually say he boxed a little bit and it didn't look completely, novice is the best way you could describe it, or a bit all over the place. That's the only time you could ever really look at Wilder and say, okay, he boxed and he didn't look too bad. But again, against a very slow, plodding heavyweight in Bermane Stiverne, who comes forward with a high guard. After that, he never looked that good again in terms of boxing anyway. What he had was his brute force punching power, his will, his iron will, and that was enough to get him through a lot of fights. And he always knew his power could get him out of a tricky situation if he was behind in a fight, and it did more often than not. Now he doesn't even have that. The will for battle doesn't seem there. The punching power, listen, they say power is the last thing to go. And I don't think Deontay Wilder is that far gone, but just not being able to channel any of that frustration, that aggression into that punching power, to not be willing to let those shots go, where before, haymaker goes and people fall over. Any chance he got, even the slightest opportunity, right hand, boom, you're done. More often than not. That's gone. I don't think you can get that back, certainly at this point in a fighter's career. If this was happening in a fighter's mid-20s, I would say, okay, look, it's a tricky one, but maybe there's something you can do. I mean, look at Joseph Parker. Got stopped against Joe Joyce, although he hasn't looked, like he's got the bit between his teeth necessarily, but he's still been able to show enough to get two very good wins back to back and put himself in a good position to challenge for a title or pick up a vacant title. Joseph Parker's only 32 years old. He was able to do it. Wilder is pushing 40. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. And when you hear Turki Alalshikh still mention him, and again, Wilder, as I will read this Seconds Out article, Wilder has made no official statement with regards whether he'll carry on or not. I think he would be best advised to call it quits then and there, because you might turn around and say, well, the Saudis are going to keep paying him. Turki Alalshikh seems willing to keep trying with Deontay Wilder. And the reason why I think he's willing to keep trying with Deontay Wilder and mention fights like Derek Chisora, mention Jared Anderson, he was mentioning Wilder versus Anderson on the Terence Crawford Majimov show. I think before Virgil Ortiz had actually, Virgil Ortiz, sorry, he didn't pull out. I was going to say he pulled out. He didn't. Tim Tszyu pulled out. He was mentioning Anderson versus Wilder before that fight was even scrapped, and we ultimately got Bacoli. In hindsight, if they'd done Wilder versus Anderson, a much more winnable fight for Jared Anderson, you would think, at this point in both their respective careers. So Turki Alalshikh seems still willing to work with Wilder. I suspect the reason why is that Turki Alalshikh, like all of us, has seen a peak Deontay Wilder in terms of punch and power. He likes that, as we all do. I think it's very hard not to like a peak Deontay Wilder in terms of entertainment in the ring. You might like him as a person, 100%. But in terms of just entertainment value, I don't know how anyone could not look at those knockouts, albeit you could say there he's not the greatest opposition, but a big knockout was still a big knockout. Turki Alalshikh obviously looks at that, likes it, knows that Wilder and Joshua, there was that rivalry there, and there probably still is that little bit of needle there. There probably is still that low-key appetite from certain fans to want to see it. I mean, I wanted to see it up until I saw Wilder versus Parker, and I was like, you know what, no. Maybe 2018 would have been the best time to do it, but now, like, no, that's a fairly run-of-the-mill win for Joshua. Where before I would have always favoured Deontay Wilder. I was like, nah, that's a run-of-the-mill win for Anthony Joshua, definitely. I suspect Turkey still wants I guess he's looking and thinking, if I can't salvage the Tyson Fury fight, let's try and salvage the Wilder fight, in the hope that if he puts Wilder in with someone, he looks devastating, and it can be sold as Deontay Wilder is back and Anthony Joshua Wilder is once again competitive, and we can sell it. I don't think you can do that. And some of the things that you're seeing here, like in this article here from Seconds Out, it says here, with no obvious route back to heavyweight gold, Wilder was offered a shock title shot against WBC World Bridgerweight champion Lawrence Okolie, with the new division having a weight limit of 224 pounds. Wilder is one of the few top heavyweights who could comfortably make that cut, weighing in for his last fight against Zhang at 214. The champion said, Lawrence Okolie, if he wanted to keep boxing, then it's probably worth boxing at Bridgerweight, maybe against the WBC champion. Well, maybe. There is only one WBC. There's only one champion at Bridgerweight. I think the WBA have something in the pipeline. We really don't need another division. I mean, Bridgerweight, it's a monstrosity of a division. It really is. I've always been against it since the get-go. That would be a great fight. People still want to see Wilder because it's Wilder, and despite him getting stopped like that, you can see he still has power, athleticism. Well, I don't know about athleticism, power, I'm still waiting to see it. I'd welcome the fight. However, his long-time manager, Shelley Finkel, has responded to the offer via World Boxing News, saying they are not interested in moving down the division. Please, thanks Lawrence Okolie for the offer, but we have no interest in the WBC Bridgerweight title. Wilder has yet to make a statement on whether he will continue boxing or hang up the gloves. Yeah, again, what? Do you know something? Wilder, when he lost to Tyson Fury first time, and when I mean first, I mean the rematch, that was the first official loss, he went dormant and quiet for months. I mean, that fight happened in February. I'm pretty sure it was November, thereabouts. In fact, I'm pretty sure Tyson Fury, there was a little bit of hearsay that he might have a fight in the UK in the Royal Albert Hall behind closed doors, but there was a little bit of talk. I actually remember Lucas Brown, but seriously, you can go look that up. Lucas Brown was one of the names that was actually being talked about. That tends to fit with something you'd expect from Tyson Fury, honestly, to sell a fight like that. But it didn't happen, thank God. He never fought. And it was right at that time Wilder came back to the scene. I wonder, will we have something similar? Not that he'll come out with something delusional, like, you know, Zhilei Zhang had egg weights in his gloves and that he got spiked before the Joseph Parker fight, something like that. I wouldn't put it past Wilder, but I don't think he will. I think he's mature. I'm going to say matured a little bit since then. But would I rule out Wilder making a video and a comeback and wanting to come back? I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think he should. I think with Wilder, I think Wilder can talk. Like, he talked at the 5v5 press conference about how I'm back, I've my killer instincts, I'm back. He didn't show that in the ring. Wilder is not a convincing actor, in a sense of when he's up there talking and saying, well, I'm back, I'm feeling this, blah, 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 blah. I'm not buying it. There are certain fighters out there, when you see them, they speak in such a way, they speak with a lot of, you know, assertion and, you know, a lot of certainty. So when they say, you know, I've done this camp right and I've done this and I'm hitting harder than ever, you could look and say, possibly. Evidently it's not the case on fight night, but they're good enough in the sense of you could look and think, maybe. Wilder, no, I don't get that. So I would say that Wilder is, I'd say stick a fork in him. If he does fight, against who? I mean, like, Turki Alalshikh is not just going to give Wilder a runaround against, you know, Joe Blow. He's not going to do that. He's talking about Chisora. And honestly, I would say Chisora at this point is a winnable fight for Chisora, as I would with Dylan White. If from the moment I started this channel to now, if you had said to me, Wilder versus White, I would have always said Wilder won't even break a sweat in that fight. He won't be able to miss him. Now, I don't know what to think. I don't know. I really don't. I always thought that fight was just... I was always amazed why Wilder never took that fight, because I was always like, Wilder will finish Dylan White. He'll make light work of him. Light work. Don't know about now. Don't know where Dylan White's at. So that's why I look at Chisora and say, he's probably got more left in the tank than both guys. Don't know where Dylan White's at. They're not winnable. They're winnable, but they're tough fights. You're not going to get a rematch of Parker. You're not going to rematch Zhang. But Cody, I don't... Good Lord, no. Who are you going to fight? Who are they going to actually dig up and give to Wilder that he can fight? And but you can believe he's back. Like the thing you need to remember is, it'd be easy to say, put him in there at Mark Damari, let him get a first round knockout. Great. Who's going to believe he's back after that? I think Turki Alalshikh is trying to make plans with Deontay Wilder. He wants people to believe, Wilder is back. The Bronze Bomber is back. You gotta have to put him in there with someone who has a name or name value. Put him in there with just some Joe Blow journeyman who's going to keel over and around. Well, that's all well and good, but I want to look at that and say that proved nothing. Nothing. And Turki Alalshikh is a smart man. I'm sure he knows that. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the Deontay Wilder situation. Will he come back? Won't he? Do you even care? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And who would you like to see him fight? I still see a lot of people mention Dylan White. I always would have liked to have seen it, even though I always felt peak for peak Wilder would win. But now... But saying that, a lot of people want to see White Chisora 3. And I actually concur. I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could and subscribe. Of course, as always, if you haven't already. Peace.